Thanks so much for such a great introduction, Dick. And thanks to everybody for coming out today to support us all. Congratulations to all the other inductees and student athletes. It's a huge honor to be seated up here with such an accomplished group of people. And congratulations to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame on its 40th anniversary. Thanks for all you do for Maine sports and the Maine sports community and for putting on such an amazing event here today. Maine has an especially strong sports community, which is obvious when you look at all the talent here in this room. And as the least accomplished athlete up here, I'm humbled and honored that the selection committee feels I've contributed to it in some way. When I started my business and told people I was planning to stop practicing law to launch a sports agency business focused on up-and-coming athletes in up-and-coming sports, they expressed doubt. When I told them that I intended to stay in Maine to do so, they told me I was crazy. To be honest, I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. I just never considered any other option. I always felt that if my idea could work somewhere else, it could work here in Maine. And since Maine's home, I wasn't leaving. Over time, my stubbornness about staying in Maine developed into a sense of pride. And I have to say, I've always found it satisfying to see the looks on people's faces when they ask where we're based. It usually goes something like this. Where are your offices? New York? LA? No, about 45 minutes southeast of LA. Orange County? Nope, Cumberland. Huh? Portland. Oh, Portland, that makes sense with Nike just up the road. Nope, the other Portland. Maine. You can get one of two looks. The one of immediate familiarity, typically followed by stories of summer camp or visits with relatives. In other words, they've been here. Or the one that betrays an internal mental of Ari Gold operating off the set of Deliverance. Either way, that look tells you a lot about the person you're dealing with. It's true that some things probably would have been a bit easier elsewhere, but whatever disadvantages there may have been many more advantages. I think there's as much talent here in Maine, not just in sports, but in business, the professional realm, and the arts as anywhere else. And there's something more here. People generally don't come through Maine to get somewhere else. And they don't stay here as a means to some other end. We live in Maine because we care a lot about where we live. I've always felt that this is what gives Mainers such a unique perspective and set of values, and it's what gives Maine a strong sense of community pride. People take pride in this community, and they want others to succeed. And over the years, I've benefited greatly from this community spirit. In our business, you're only as successful as the athletes you represent. To have had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest athletes in sports and some of the best people I've known. As my business gained momentum, it became easier to expand into other sports and to attract athletes like Michael Phelps, Apollo Antonono, and Aly Raisman. If Ross Powers and Seth Westcott hadn't taken a chance on me some 15 years ago, when I was just a young lawyer in Portland, none of this other stuff would have been possible. As you know, these guys went on to win 4 Olympic medals between the two of them in 4 different Olympic Games. So thanks to you guys for believing in me and giving me the opportunity that you did, and thanks to you both for being here today. For agents, each sport is completely different business. In a sport like baseball or hockey, if you have a client, the deal will be there. You've got to negotiate it and do a good job, but a lot of the work is getting the client. Some relatively unknown athletes with great athletic potential and potential future marketability, but most of our work even know if there will be a deal. When I started, I handled everything myself: contract negotiations, sales, and operations. It didn't take long to outgrow that approach. It quickly became more specialized. I now work with a team of people, several of whom have been with me for over a decade, and whom are the very best in the entire industry at what they do. And whatever success we've had is very much the result of a team effort. Drew Johnson Ben Morrill, Marissa Gagnon, and several others who aren't here today, thanks for believing in the business and for everything you've contributed over the years. I'm the second of 3 brothers and the least accomplished athlete in that group as well. Growing up, our driveway served as the venue for every sport imaginable, and I suppose I ought to thank my brothers Jeff and Chris for helping to fuel my competitive spirit and cultivate a strong distaste for losing. I definitely need to thank my parents for supporting our interest in sports. My dad coached all of our Little League teams, and I don't think my mother missed a single one of our games. And for providing us with a healthy perspective on sports and a strong sense of right and wrong, both of which I found invaluable throughout my career. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Justine, for believing in the vision from the very beginning and for encouraging me to take the risks necessary to start this business. And my 3 wonderful kids, Aiden, Kenny, and Marin, who make it so easy to remember what really matters at the end of the day. Thank you.